Have you ever allowed your mind to wander, allowing yourself to think about what it'd be like to know exactly what women want? Would you use this knowledge for good, or would you use it for bad? You see, there are actually a couple things that women love universally, but only a handful of men know what they are. Now, it doesn't take years of study, a college degree, or even self-help books. Mostly, many of these things are pure common sense and haven't changed that much in the last 100 years or so. However, it's also important to look at some of the things women hate that men do to ensure that you avoid doing them. What women hate about men. The world is rather fascinating in a few ways, but one of these ways is the fact that women and men are different, despite what you're being told in the media. For example, men enjoy thinking about things logically and finding conclusions, whereas women love the softer side, always wanting to understand the emotional effects things might have. Whenever a man defaults to logical thinking, women often don't follow along, and this is where men tend to lose them in conversation. But men being overly logical is not the only thing women don't like. You see, the modern man's driven by his ego, and this ego often propels them into wanting just one thing. Thanks to years of evolution, women have come to notice when a man simply wants to sleep with her. Since most men tend to do things and always expect something in return, they push women anyway. But the iceberg of things women don't like continues. Another problem for men is when they learn all the skills about masculinity. Once a man learns this, he wants to immediately implement them when dealing with women, and often comes off with the same way Andrew Tate does when talking. Even though women love a masculine man, they don't want someone overbearing, who's constantly talking about how powerful men are and how they should be better. In fact, the ideal women want you to show your masculinity, rather than talk about it all the time. And finally, one of the worst things men do that women absolutely despise is the fact that they live in a life that centers around a woman they like. As much as women want all the attention and might tell you they want a man obsessed with them, the less this is true. She wants someone with his own purpose who is actively seeking to make a difference in the world. This is why, despite power and money, many humanitarians tend to have great success when dating. But aside from that, there are 11 highly powerful things that women love, and only 1% of men have the knowledge to do this. Number 1, men who understand and know themselves. It's important that we follow a chronological order for these things, as they can actually serve as a ladder to success. You see, with each of these things you do, you're slowly becoming more and more of a likable person in the eyes of women. On top of the female list is the fact that she wants someone who knows himself. You see, there's millions of men in the world who all live in a fantasy world. These men are actively trying to be someone else. Perhaps they've seen a video of someone who's successful with women, or they're just trying to portray the protagonist in some movie. The fact of the matter is that women can quickly snuff out when a man's being fake, and the more a man tries to be fake, the more incongruent his actions will be. Women prefer a man who's steadfast in his own beliefs. If you can stop caring about the opinions of others, you'll become more of the type of person you were born to be. Women truly appreciate such authenticity. However, the whole world is extremely judgmental, and due to such a judgmental nature, it's no secret why men feel like they cannot be their true selves. The more you embody who you actually are, the more women will notice and gravitate toward you. Number 2, self-respect. Do you often find yourself not fixing your hair when you go out in public? Well, this is a major thing for women. You see, women are all about self-respect, and they want a man who can be respectful of himself. You see, women put in a lot of effort when they go anywhere, and they always want to make sure everyone sees them in their best possible state. Unfortunately, men have slowly lost some self-respect, with many guys now simply just putting on something comfortable and going out. Now, don't get me wrong, if you have the personality to not care what others think, and your personality can be congruent regardless of how you look, you can go ahead, and it'll work for you. Unfortunately, most men have their egos tied to how they look, and when they don't look good, they can't be themselves. But this doesn't only reflect on the physical. You see, women want a man who has self-respect in all areas of his life. This means that you understand some of the finer things, like giving her some space. Most men grab onto a woman, and they'll spam her with repeated text messages to continue the conversation. If a woman rejects you or doesn't respond, you should have self-respect and back off, regardless of your feelings. The more you can show a woman that you don't need her or that she does not affect who you are, she will recognize you for having self-respect and trusting in yourself. Number 3, willingness to engage in banter. With self-respect being such a powerful tool, there's often a misconception that men need to totally respect women. Don't get me wrong, you should always treat a woman with respect, but you should never treat her like some kind of glass that needs to be put in bubble wrap. Not only is this a little overbearing for many women, but it shows them that they're in control of the encounter and the situation. A little bit of banter, which might somehow be a bit insulting, can often make her laugh. It can also show her that you're willing to say what you think. The thing is, many men don't know how to be respectful without looking like they're constantly trying to impress a woman. The more you try to impress her, the more she will feel in control. This also means that she doesn't need to put in any effort, and you will be continuously chasing her. Women might tell you how much they like it, but a woman also wants to be the one chasing. She needs to do something that makes the relationship feel like an achievement. Number 4, willingness to say no. Until you played around with the word no for a bit, you'll never truly understand exactly why it works. You see, the more you say yes, the more people will learn that you don't have any standards. In fact, they might feel like you're willing to say yes to almost anything on earth. If someone doesn't have to put in any effort to get you to say yes, they'll never come to respect you for anything. One of the most important things to know about women is that you can easily learn to say no. Yes, she might not like it at first, but relationships are all about respect. She will come to respect you for this decision, and it will yield some benefits down the road. The top 1% of men understand that occasionally you might not like something someone says or is suggesting. By saying no, the other person will come to respect you and understand that yes is something they need to earn. As we continue with this video, one theme will repeat itself, and this is the term respect. Without any respect, you will continually struggle with relationships, and women will never give you what you want. You are bound to be used until she's bored. Number 5, add some humor. One of the most attractive things for women, as proven by many studies, is when men can make her laugh a little. You see, life's already tedious by itself, and when you're constantly keeping a serious demeanor, things can quickly go south. By adding a little bit of humor, it naturally allows you to lighten up the conversation. And when used correctly, you can also gain some control over the interaction. A little bit of banter, as we've already mentioned, is a great way to add some humor to the conversation. Make sure that you brush up on some humor and add it to your conversations. You'll notice women coming back every time they start seeing you as a light-hearted individual who can make her laugh and feel good. Number 6, stop talking too much. One of the most important skills you can learn in life is to listen more. You see, everyone feels they have a lot to say, but what they have to say is often a bunch of jibba-jabba. On top of this, men who constantly talk about themselves are neglecting the power of being a little mysterious. One way the top 1% of men get women interested is by becoming good listeners. You see, no one's ever gone on a date where they constantly talk about themselves and say that it was a bad date. Once you allow a woman to be the one talking, she will also give you more avenues and topics of conversations to talk about. It is absolutely vital that you learn when you need to talk and when you need to actually stop talking. Sometimes all you need to do is just ask a few questions and a woman will carry the rest of the conversation. At the end of the day, you will know so much more about her, and this creates mystery and intrigue, which keeps her coming back. Number 7, the power of smell. Of all the senses, smell is probably one of the most powerful. When you learn how to use smell to your advantage, everything changes in the blink of an eye. You see, women always want a man who smells great, and they will naturally associate this scent with you for life. It's ideal for a man to have a musky smell or some kind of wooden tone. which brings out your masculine scent and makes you seem far more attractive than you are. A recent blind test on smell was done with women, and when you smell good, you can easily add up to 3 points to your looks tally. This means that if she sees you as a natural 6, you can be a 9 by simply having a good scent that turns her on. Number 8, comforting conversations about emotions. Now, many people will tell you to completely avoid these emotional conversations. In fact, influencers focused on building extreme masculinity will tell you that you should never engage in emotional conversations with women. Well, the problem with this is that men who do this seem shallow, and they might lack some emotional depth. Even though you might not like emotions or would want to avoid them at all costs, it's something that's important for a flourishing relationship. A woman wants a man who can talk freely about some of his emotions without any care about judgment. However, you also need to be aware that your emotional depth should never outshine her emotional feelings. The moment she senses that you're more emotional than she is, she will automatically see you as weak. You must have the skill to talk about some of the emotional things, but it should not be something you ruminate about. In fact, you should never become stuck on the same emotional topic. Nobody likes a mixtape that's on repeat, and the more you engage deeply in vulnerabilities that signify your emotional weaknesses, the more she'll start pulling away. However, when she talks about emotions and you manage to understand what she's saying, you can give her advice and show her that you do have some emotional depth. Number 9, purpose-driven. We've already touched on the point of a man being solely focused on his purpose and goals. You see, when a man's focused on what he wants to achieve, it creates a sense of excitement. This excitement is extremely powerful, and it will allow you to bring a very high level of energy to the conversation. The more energy you can bring into a conversation, the more you are also controlling her energy. But most importantly, she now sees you as someone who has goals and a purpose in life. The moment you become that guy, she also realizes that nothing she does can shake you from your goal. This is extremely attractive, and women actively seek men who are trying to improve themselves and make the world a better place. With all the positive energy that comes from being purpose-driven, women can become addicted, and they'll actively seek to join you on such a journey. It's usually these kinds of men who are chased by women. Number 10, controlling the relationship. One of the most important things in this world is being in control. In fact, everyone you ask wants to be in control of something. The reason for this control is the power it comes with. But not only the power you get, it's also the power others see you as having. What women want is to have a man who's willing to make the hard decisions and to control the direction where the relationship is going. Now, this doesn't mean that you should control the other person, but rather create the rules for the relationship and what is acceptable. Life is full of decisions, and this is what many call decision fatigue. Christopher Voss sums it up quite well when he tells his students that they want to make decisions as easy as possible for others. However, controlling the relationship allows her to think about different things. It also naturally allows a woman to feel like you're providing and protecting her. She'll come to respect you more, and she'll love the fact that you're stepping into your masculine role. Number 11, sexual prowess. One of the most important things is to be able to satisfy a woman. You see, many men are unwilling to actively satisfy a woman, and they become selfish. Whether you're in the middle of foreplay or going down on her, it's important that you understand what you're doing to ensure the best possible results. You see, a man who can sexually satisfy a woman to the point where she actually compliments you will never have an issue with women again. She will become so drawn to you that she will constantly be chasing you for more of the same pleasure. If you can spice things up by creating a little bit of sexual tension as well, you will see women literally flock to you and unable to pull away. The key ingredient to becoming this kind of man is knowing how to create sexual tension. Without it, everything else is useless. Make sure to check out our video on how to build sexual tension effectively next.